So if you're a football fan, you definitely watch the Ballon d'Or every single year, which is basically the most prestigious player award in the entire game, awarded to the best player every single year. But what you may not have known is that there's also a Golden Boy award, which is pretty much the Ballon d'Or, but it's awarded to the best young player of the year. This award was established in 2003, so I thought it'd be fun to take a look at every single Golden Boy award winner from 2003 all the way to today, and rank them on whether or not they reach their potential. In this tier list, I have 5 different categories. We have the GOAT category, we have surpassed expectations, so whatever potential was expected of them, they did even better than that. Reached their expectations, which is still really impressive because some of these guys had really high expectations. Should have been better, and then completely flopped. So let's not waste any time, let's get started with the first ever winner of the Golden Boy Award, which is Rafael van der Vaart. Yes, that is actually how you pronounce it, Van der Vaart. So this guy is 42 years old right now, and he won it in 2003, which would make him about 20 at the time. If we look at some of his stats here, it's pretty easy to see why he won it at such a young age. Obviously, if you can't tell by looking at me, I am fairly young, not old enough to remember him playing in 2003, but if you look at his stats here for the 2002-03 Eredivisie season, he played 21 games, he scored 18 goals and 4 assists. Really amazing. And at this time, Ajax fans and Dutch fans were calling him the next Johan Cruyff. Now that is a lot to live up to, and I don't really think he did that. My first memory of Rafael van der Vaart comes from the 2010 World Cup. That's what I remember. He was pretty much just a squad player at that World Cup. He did a decent job, but really it was Arjen Robben and Wesley Sneijder that really stole the spotlight in that World Cup. That kind of illustrates why I say that Van der Vaart didn't live up to his potential. Robben and Sneijder were both young Dutch talents coming up at around the same time, but none of them won the Golden Boy Award, and he did. But who made a bigger splash in the national team is definitely the likes of Robben and Sneijder, and I'd say they both had better careers than Van der Vaart overall. Not to diminish Rafael van der Vaart, I definitely remember him playing for Tottenham. He was very, very good for Tottenham when he played. As you can see here, look at that, 13 goals, 9 assists, 28 games in the 2010-11 season. He was always a really solid player for them. His Bundesliga stats are pretty great as well, 199 appearances. I don't know why he couldn't stick around for that final 200th appearance at Hamburg, but 66 goals and 55 assists, that's nothing to sniff at. He was a great player, but he had very lofty expectations put on him, being called the next Cruyff, and I just don't really think he reached that. Now look, I know it's pretty much impossible to reach those heights, but I'd say if he had a career of something like a Robben, I would say it's okay that he didn't reach Cruyff's heights, and I call it reached expectations, but I didn't think he lived up to his potential. He's certainly not a flop though, he was still a great player, so I'm putting him in should have been better. Next we have Wayne Rooney. He won this award in 2004, which means he would have been 19 at the time. What can you even say about Rooney? He's definitely one of the best teenagers of all time. He really burst onto the scene for Everton in the Premier League. Look at that. I mean, not his goal stats aren't, anything incredible, but the fact that he's making 33 and 34 appearances in the Premier League as a 17 and 18-year-old tell you all you need to know. Of course, he earned his big money move to Manchester United, where he became a club legend. He is one of the Man United legends, alongside someone like Sir Bobby Charlton, the top scorer in the entire club's history, 253 goals and 559 appearances. Just an all-around incredible player, and still honestly somewhat underrated. One of England's very best. He was the top scorer in English football history before Harry Kane actually came along and just surpassed him. So yeah, Wayne Rooney, I'm going to say surpassed expectations. An incredible player. He did have high expectations at the time, but I would say becoming Manchester United's top goal scorer and England's top goal scorer is definitely surpassing those expectations. Okay, next we have Lionel Messi, who won in 2005. And after him, we have Cesc Fabregas, who won the award in 2006. Now, of course, Fabregas right now at the age of 37 is the manager of Como. While some midfielders his age or even older are still playing, Fabregas retired pretty early, but it's understandable that he retired so early when you look at how young he was starting for Arsenal. 17 years old, he was already starting for Arsenal. He was absolutely amazing breaking through for them, viewed as a top midfielder, and with 20 assists, that was equaling Thierry Henry's assist record in the Premier League at that time. According to some sources, he only got 17. I don't know. But either way, an incredible assister and a great goal scorer, honestly, as well. A really good, amazing attacking midfielder on his day for Arsenal. Then he got that huge move to Barcelona, which you would think would elevate him even further. And while he did a great job with Barcelona, it was pretty tricky for him playing with Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, the most world-class midfield in the world. Of course, he played with them for Spain as well, but he was slightly overshadowed by the likes of someone like Iniesta, and he was forced to play a little bit out of his preferred position. Obviously, he came back to Chelsea and was absolutely instrumental in that Jose Mourinho title-winning season, and also great in Conte's title-winning season as well. He is an incredible midfielder, truly one of the best, but he did have very high expectations put on him. He is amazing, but he's not up there with someone like, I don't know, like an Iniesta or a Xavi. That's a little high, of course, but I wouldn't say that he surpassed his expectations. I would say that he reached his expectations. He was an incredible world-class midfielder on his day, but he didn't have quite the longevity, and he didn't make the step up at Barcelona like some people probably think he should have. Okay, next we have El Kun Agüero, an amazing Argentinian striker. Of course, another player that retired pretty early, but not his fault. Obviously, he has a heart condition. He's 36 years of age. He won this award in 2007, back when he would have been 19 years old. It's pretty easy to see why. The 2007-08 season with Atletico Madrid, he scored 19 goals and earned 10 assists in La Liga, 37 appearances, did just as well the year after. Then, of course, he made his big move to Man City, an absolutely incredible striker for them, obviously, this moment, among others. One of the best strikers in Premier League history. I don't think I really need to elaborate further. Obviously, he could have done a bit better in international competitions, but I'm still going to put him as having surpassed his expectations. He truly was an elite striker. I don't think as good as Wayne Rooney, so I'm going to put him more to the side, but an incredible, incredible striker, one of the very best in Premier League history. Next, we have Anderson. Okay, so Anderson is now the assistant manager at Adana Demirspor in Turkey. Very interesting, but he was viewed as the next big thing coming out of Brazil. His stats don't really tell his story here. It was more for his playmaking ability. He was viewed as a very elite midfielder at Porto and in the Brazilian league. And if you read about his story, it's actually pretty heartwarming. He comes from a really rough area in Brazil. Seems like a very, actually quite a humble guy that Sir Alex Ferguson really kind of took under his wing. And even though he didn't live up to the expectations that was put on him, didn't really contribute in any positive way at all to Manchester United, other than that kind of penalty in the Champions League final. Actually, that's a pretty big contribution. But yeah, he really just didn't live up to the hype. He's kind of the quintessential flop. I do feel bad for him, but hey, he got to play for one of the best clubs in the world. But yeah, he really just didn't live up to the hype at all. Anderson goes into flop, no questions asked. Next we have Alexandre Pato, another person that I think almost everyone considers a flop. He won the year after Anderson, and yeah, this is a sad one to see because injuries were a pretty big contribution to why he flopped so hard. But yeah, in the 2008-09 season, which is what he won for, 15 goals and 6 assists for AC Milan in the Serie A, helped them to win the Serie A title. Did great in the Champions League for them as well. He looked like he was destined to become the best striker in the world. It's just unfortunate. He just didn't live up to the hype. He made a pretty big money move. It was the Brazilian record signing at the time back to Brazil, which was definitely seen as a bit of a step back. He then tried his luck at Chelsea in the Premier League, did not work out at all. Then going to Villarreal in Spain also didn't work out. Went to China where he actually did a really good job there. 36 goals and 8 assists in 60 appearances for Qianjin, so actually excelled. Played his best football in China, but yeah, definitely a flop. Another person that is kind of a quintessential flop. We're going on a bit of a flop streak here because next we have Mario Balotelli, an absolute legend of the game. Pretty much more known for his antics and his off-the-pitch stuff than how he did on the pitch, and it's incredible that he's only the age of 34. He won this in 2010, I believe, when he must have been 19 or 20. Yeah, at the time, I mean, he was a really, really promising young striker. Did a great job for Inter breaking through, scored some world-class goals. He's always been a bit of a streaky player that's had the potential, had the incredible ability, but just hasn't really had the drive to live up to the potential he had. Had some amazing moments played really well for for AC Milan in this season. Played very well for Man City in the Premier League that season. Played very well for Nice in this little streak at Ligue 1, and did well in Turkey right here, but he was supposed to be the next big thing, the next big Italian striker. But in terms of iconic moments, like setting his own house on fire with fireworks, I believe, he's just a legend of the game, so almost a GOAT in that respect, but no, he's definitely a flop. Less so than I'd say Pato and Anderson, but still a flop. So actually, maybe we should do it like this. Next, we have Mario Götze, who's only 32 at the moment. He won this award when he was aged either 18 or 19, very young for Borussia Dortmund. He was an incredible young player. His dribbling was absolutely world class. He looked certain like he'd be the next big thing for Germany. He lit up the Bundesliga in the 2010-11 season with 15 assists and 6 goals in 33 appearances. In that absolutely iconic Jurgen Klopp side, he was amazing. Of course, then he earned his big money move to Bayern Munich, and he scored that goal to win his country the World Cup. So I think for that moment alone, you can't put him in the flop category. You scored the winning goal in a World Cup final. That's just the best moment any player can ever have in their career, so you can automatically never be considered a flop. But did he live up to his potential? Absolutely not. I know, sadly, a big part of that was due to this illness that he had, some kind of muscle degenerative illness that made it a lot harder for him to play. But he had a good second spell at Dortmund. Nothing, incredible, but had some good moments coming off the bench. Solid stuff at PSG and Eintracht Frankfurt as well, but again, never that main man. So definitely should have been better. But I'm not calling him a flop because he scored the winning goal in the World Cup final. Okay, next we have Isco. So he won the Golden Boy Award while playing for Malaga at age 20 in 2012. He was a real breakthrough star in La Liga, and stats don't really do this guy justice. If you've watched Isco play, which I'm sure a lot of you have, it's really his dribbling, his vision. He's a really unique, flashy player, one of the most fun players ever to watch. And he's a really tricky one to rate because was he consistent? Not really. Did he make a big impact on his national team, Spain? Not really. Did he have some absolutely world-class moments? Like for Real Madrid in, I believe it was 2016 and 17 when Zidane just kind of built the whole team around him? Absolutely. If we're looking at his peak and his prime, it was absolutely second to none, incredible. And he's playing very well this season as well with Real Betis, kind of re-sparking his career after a disappointing last couple seasons for Real Madrid. He's a little bit of a tricky one to rate. Obviously, when you're a Spanish midfielder coming around in 2011 and 2012, you're going to be compared to Iniesta, to Xavi, to Fabregas, who we already have on the list. Did he live up to those hypes? No. He was absolutely world class on his day, but I still think it probably should have been better, but right at the top of that category. Isco, one of my favorite players, but when you look at his career of all time, I think he's going to be one of those players that ultimately gets underrated in the future because his stats don't really hold up, and it was more about what he did on the ball. Still, to me, that's what matters most, but when you win the Golden Boy Award in 2012, you're kind of expected to be on that level, and while he was on that level, he didn't do it consistently enough. Speaking of another player who had world-class moments but wasn't consistent enough, we have Paul Pogba in 2013. Paul Pogba is one of the most what-could-have-been players of all time. He's now absolutely completely retired from the game at the age of just 31 as a central midfielder when they're supposed to be playing pretty much forever. Gosh, this guy bursting onto the scene was absolutely incredible for Juventus. I'm sure you've seen some of the iconic goals, the incredible moments that he made happen for Juventus at such a young age that got him to win the Golden Boy Award. He also really showed up for his national team. He was absolutely world-class for France. In the 2014 World Cup, great breakout star there, but it was really in the 2018 World Cup with his partnership with N'Golo Kante. They were absolutely unstoppable in that World Cup. And again, he's one of those players that played really well for Manchester United on his day, but he just really wasn't consistent enough. With Juventus, just absolutely world class. If he had stayed at his level, he would have been viewed as one of the best midfielders of all time. But again, he just has not been consistent enough. I'm going to put him around the same as Isco, maybe a little bit above him, but still should have been better. He really could have been the best midfielder of all time. He could have been looked at someone like Yaya Toure, but just not consistent enough. But on his day, there's just no player. He's so tall, so skillful. He can shoot, he can pass, he can defend, he can dribble, he can do everything. Honestly, he didn't live up to his expectations, but he was still an absolutely world-class player on his day with world-class moments and an incredible contribution to that 2018 World Cup win for France. Next, we'd have someone who I'd consider to be one of the more underrated players of all time, Raheem Sterling. Now again, we're going to talk about longevity. He's 30 years old. Bench warming for Arsenal, not really getting a look in. Not the best. Man, this is a guy that's been constantly attacked and slandered by the media. He had some pretty lofty expectations put on him. Again, another player that really did burst onto the scene with Liverpool. He was going to be the next big England talent, but it was always going to be, well, would he be another, someone like John Barnes, a winger like him? Or would he be another, Aaron Lennon, who was very good on his day, but not world class. I would call Sterling world class for a couple seasons. This span from around 2016 to 2020. He was amazing. There's no other way to put it. He was absolutely electric for Manchester City, an amazing goal scorer, amazing dribbler. Really, really good and honestly very underrated, I'd say. But again, his longevity, just not good enough. After Man City, his spells at Chelsea and Arsenal have just been very, very disappointing. And although he will go down as one of the best players in Manchester City's history, I don't think he quite reached his expectations. So I'm going to put him at should have been better here. Just kind of between, maybe a bit under Isco. Okay, next up we have Anthony Martial, who's kind of the quintessential flop. At 29 years old, he's playing at AEK Athens in Greece. Doing a pretty solid job there, but when you win the Ballon d'Or at age, how old was he at the time? 18, 19? You've got very high expectations on you. For Monaco, he was great, had that great breakout season. Little did they know they'd have someone a lot better break through for them. Much better French striker would come just a couple years later. He was signed by Manchester United, which was supposed to be just a little brief slump after Fergie left. He was supposed to be the guy that propelled them forward. About 10 years later, they're still in that little brief slump. He just never became world class, to be honest. He had some pretty solid seasons for Man United, but just never ever lived up to his expectations. Honestly, not even remotely, I'd say. He's definitely a flop. He's not as bad of a flop as someone like Anderson, but I'll put him just below Balotelli, just above Pato. He's in there. He's definitely a flop. But again, on his day, he's a very good player, just not a world-class player. Never. Okay, next we have Renato Sanchez. Again, another kind of textbook flop here. And now we're getting into the territory where these players are still playing and they still could become, better than I'm giving them credit for. So I could be prematurely calling some of these players from here on forward a flop. I could be prematurely calling them great, but I'm just going to judge them on, how they are playing now. It's going to make even less sense when we get to, this year and last year's winners. But so he had an incredible breakout season for Benfica, playing well, going very under the radar. I'd be lying if I told you I knew who he was before Euro 2016, but it really was Euro 2016 why he won the Golden Boy Award. He was absolutely incredible for Portugal there. He went on to win the tournament. He scored some crucial goals, but overall he just kind of ran the midfield like an engine at 18 years old. He was seen to be the next huge thing. He made a big money move to Bayern Munich. He was going to take the world over. And then he went on loan to Swansea. Didn't really do anything for Swansea. Went back to Bayern Munich. Went to Lille. Played pretty solidly at Lille. Went to PSG. Didn't do a whole lot there. Went to Roma, which I honestly forgot or didn't even know that happened. And now he's back at Benfica. He played against Barcelona the other night. Looked okay. Again, he looks okay. He's 27 years old. He's a pretty solid midfielder. But is he world class? Nowhere near it. He's okay, but he is a flop. I'll put him, kind of mid-tier in the flops list. But again, he's 27. Some midfielders peak late. Can prove me wrong. Next, after kind of a worrying amount of should have been betters and flops, we have a breath of fresh air. We have the one and only Kylian Mbappe, 26 years old right now. up front for Real Madrid, finally kicking into form there. Yeah, 26 years old. He won the Ballon d'Or in 2017, so he would have been 18 years old at the time. I think he may have already just made his move to PSG, but it was really primarily that 16-17 breakout season at Monaco, which saw him win it. 6 goals in the Champions League on that amazing Monaco run with that amazing Monaco team that included the likes of Bernardo Silva, again Mbappe, Thomas Lemar, who else we got? Bakayoko. 15 goals and 8 assists in 29 appearances in Ligue 1 for Monaco. Stellar. And in terms of how he is, again, I think this guy he gets a little bit underrated. Let's just go through some of his accolades here. So even though he left Ligue 1 after just 9 seasons, he's the 6th top scorer of all time in Ligue 1 history. He is also PSG's record goal scorer in history with an incredible 0.83 goals per match, 256 goals and 308 appearances for them. And that was before the age of 25. Just incredible. And in terms of the World Cup, he is the 6th all-time World Cup goal scorer with 12 goals in 14 matches, having only played just 2 World Cups, only at the age of 26. He's 4 goals away from Miroslav Klose's record. It looks pretty much certain that he's going to break that record, seeing as he has 2, maybe even 3 World Cups in him. He's an incredible, incredible young talent. Did amazing for France in the 2018 World Cup. Played out of his skin for PSG in Ligue 1. It did even better for France, winning the Golden Boot in the last World Cup 2022, scoring a hat-trick in the World Cup final. He's a world-class player, and this season, even though he's been below his standards, he's got 17 goals and 3 assists in 24 La Liga games and 7 goals in 11 Champions League games. He's an absolutely elite striker. I might even put him in this category with Messi, but no, I think Messi stands alone. I'm going to put him at the top of the surpassed expectations category. A lot of times when you have young players break through, looking as amazing as he did at age 17, I remember how amazing Mbappe looked at that time. You do kind of start to wonder and worry that they're going to flop, seeing as, you know, what I was used to was someone like Martial or Balotelli who, wow, they look great, but then they just kind of... Mbappe has not done that. He's incredible. Okay, next we have Matthias de Ligt, who won in 2018. This is a more unique one. We're not going to, be looking at his stats as much. He's still only 25 years old, which is insane. He was really supposed to be the next big thing when it comes to center backs. In that incredible Ajax team under Erik ten Hag, I believe it was, that went almost to the Champions League final. Probably could have gone to the Champions League final, would have put it up a much better fight against Liverpool than Tottenham did. I wish they had gone there, but an absolutely world-class defender right there at such a young age. Definitely deserving of that Golden Boy award. Moved to Juventus, where played solidly. Moved to Bayern Munich, where again he played solidly, but never really nailed on as that starter, that world-class defender like he was brought up to be. And then he made a move to Manchester United, which not a good idea in my opinion, but hey, it's going to happen at some point. Amorim, I do believe he's an amazing coach. Maybe next season he'll get them running smoothly like they're supposed to be. Maybe De Ligt will get back into that world-class form, but he hasn't really reached the heights like he was supposed to. He's still an amazing center back, and he's played for some of the best clubs, most legendary clubs in football history: Ajax, Juventus, Bayern Munich, and Man United. An incredible, array of teams to have played for. He's made almost 400 appearances, and he's not even 25 yet. So, again, center backs often peak late. They often get into their prime when they're around 30, 29, 28. So I'm still going to give him a lot of time. I still think he could turn out to be one of the best center backs of all time, but as it is now, I'm going to put him in. He should have done better. Again, it's not really a past tense should have. He should do better in the future. If he steps up his form a bit, it'll be great. But as of now, I don't think he has reached his expectations. I think it'd be unfair to say that. Okay, next we have João Felix. Yeah, I remember at the time when João Felix won this award. I know he played great in this season. It was 18-19 for Benfica, 15 goals, 9 assists, 26 appearances at such a young age. And he looked amazing. He did look world-class. I get it. But I was still baffled when Atletico spent 127 million on him. It just screamed like a bad idea, and it was. He was supposed to be like the heir to Griezmann's throne since he moved to Barcelona, but it really didn't end up that way. He just did not reach the heights that he did at Benfica. Moved to Chelsea, moved to Barcelona. Again, just the same. Like he has moments of where you can see his brilliance. He's got that flashy flair, that dribbling. But yeah, he is kind of a quintessential flop. And again, he's so young. Let's see, how old is he right now? He's only 25. He could prove me wrong, but for now, he's definitely a flop. I'll put him in the middle right here. And now we have Erling Haaland. Again, nice after the flops to get interrupted by someone who is the opposite of a flop. He's only 24 years old, but his stats just unbelievable. He is already one of the best goal scorers of all time. And of course, if he keeps this up, he could go down as pretty much the best goal scorer of all time. Obviously, he has Ronaldo and Messi to compete with, etc., etc. But in terms of pure goal scoring, he is an absolute machine. And he has been. He won this award, I believe, when he had just moved to Dortmund. It was in 2020. He had 13 goals, 3 assists in his first 15 appearances for Dortmund. Not bad. And was incredible for RB Salzburg in that first half of the season as well. He always maintains a close to perfect goal ratio. He pretty much always pops up. Even when he's not having his best of games, you can rely on him for a goal pretty much all the time. Broke the Premier League goal scoring record in his first season for the Premier League. Smashed the record. Again, he's having an off season this year, but still 20 goals and 3 assists in 26 games. So yeah, 23 GA in 26 games. So that's only 3 games where he's not contributing to a goal. I know it doesn't actually work out like that, but 8 goals and 9 appearances in the Champions League as well. I know they're out of it now, but still. He's an amazing goal scorer. He's a world-class player. He's not blessed with Kylian Mbappe, like playing for a nation like France, so we haven't got the chance to see what he's done in a major tournament since he plays for Norway, but maybe they'll qualify for the next World Cup. Maybe they'll qualify for the Euros. We'll see. But as of now, he hasn't proven anything on that stage, but he's definitely surpassed his expectations already, I'd say. Breaking the Premier League scoring record is amazing. I don't think he's quite on the level of Mbappe yet. I'll put him just under Rooney, but just above Aguero. Next we have Pedri, who is only 22 years old. It's kind of crazy when you see a player that is younger than you. Very weird feeling. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. And if you can't relate to that, get ready. It's coming soon. It's weird. It's very weird when players are younger than you. So again, stats don't really tell the story with this guy, but he won it in 2021 after breaking through with Las Palmas. Looked incredible, looked like the next Iniesta in the second division. I remember watching his highlights at the time. And he's just continued to play that way. He had, a little bit of a dip when Barcelona had a little bit of a dip, but for that first Xavi season, he was incredible. And this season under Hansi Flick, he also looks absolutely unplayable. He just really dictates the game. He's an amazing dribbler, amazing passer. He really is just a regen of like a Xavi Iniesta type, even like a Fabregas, right? So I think he's reached his expectations for now. He was hailed to be the next great Barcelona central midfielder maestro, and he is currently fulfilling that role, I'd say. So, if he moves on and up, he could surpass his expectations, but yeah, for now, he's playing amazingly. Okay, next we have Gavi. Again, another kind of regen, Spanish shorter midfielder. Again, he's only 20. I'm not going to judge his career here, but he broke through in Barcelona in that first Xavi season, I believe it was, where he won the Golden Boy for his performances. He is a great midfielder, but when you compare him to Pedri, no, he's not as good as Pedri. At least yet. He's still so young, so he's only 20. This is when a lot of people were winning this award. He won it very early at the age of 18. So yeah, very tricky to judge him, but I'm gonna say, you should do a bit better. Should have been better. Doesn't feel right for him. But as he gets more playtime, he's gonna automatically get better. But if he stays at the level he's currently playing at, then he won't have lived up to his expectations. But he's still only 20. He's going to have an amazing career, I think. Okay, next we have 2 left. We have Jude Bellingham, who won it last year. Wayne Rooney's there twice for some reason. Yeah, Jude Bellingham. I didn't expect him to get this good. So I remember when Dortmund signed him from Birmingham in the championship, and then Birmingham retired his shirt number. They retired a 17-year-old, maybe even 16-year-old at the time, shirt number after he played 41 games for them in the championship because they knew how good he was going to go on to become. I thought that was a little silly. I thought he was kind of destined to be a flop after that. Nope. Just to, mock Birmingham. But nope. He's been amazing. An incredible centre midfielder, box-to-box midfielder for Dortmund in the Bundesliga. Real Madrid snapped him up for 100 million. And then they converted him into kind of an attacking midfielder, almost like a false nine. He scored 19 goals in his debut La Liga season, 6 assists. Obviously won the Champions League with Real Madrid that season. Has played very, very well for England as well. He's just such a graceful player. He is really a lot like Zinedine Zidane, but he's still got a long way to go. And although he is one of the best midfielders in the world right now, I wouldn't say he's necessarily surpassed his expectations. Keep in mind, he won that Golden Boy award for that amazing season he had last year. So I think right now he's at his expectations. We'll see how he grows. Okay, now we come to this year's winner, Lamine Yamal. I mean, how do you really judge him on his expectations? He's 17 years old. He really does look like the next Messi or just the next. He's just incredible. I've never seen. I wasn't there watching R9 Ronaldo as a teenager. I don't remember seeing Messi as a teenager, but Lamine Yamal is definitely the best 17-year-old I've ever seen. I've seen Mbappe. I've seen Haaland. Maybe I saw Haaland when he was 18. Maybe Mbappe when he was 18. But Yamal is definitely the best player for the youngest age that I've ever seen. He plays so maturely. It's incredible. He's had an amazing breakout first 2 seasons. He played an incredibly huge role in winning Spain the Euros. His trajectory just looks up and up from here. So I'm going to put him in the surpassed expectations category, I guess. I don't know what is it. He's just won the award, so it's kind of hard to rate him, but I just rate him so highly. I think he's incredible. And eventually he could get up here. He really could. But that just about wraps up the tier list here. I don't think there's anything else I want to change here. A lot of these guys, and should have been better, still were amazing world-class players. It's just when you get the Golden Boy Awards, you kind of have this curse, like, do better, do great, do amazing. Pogba, Isco, Sterling, Van de Vaart, all really good players, but didn't exactly reach the heights that were bestowed upon them. These guys definitely did. Mbappe so far. Rooney, yes, absolutely. Messi, I mean, above and beyond. Aguero, absolutely. Haaland and Yamal so far, yes, absolutely. Pedri so far, Bellingham so far have definitely reached their expectations, and same with Fabregas overall. So yeah, pretty happy with this list. Please let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Yeah, let me know what you agree with, disagree with. Again, I haven't watched all of these players play as much as I would have liked, so if I got anything wrong, if there's a Man United fan who could tell me more about Anderson, or a Benfica fan that could tell me a bit more about Renato Sanchez or something like that, please let me know in the comments below. But yeah, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to Footballers for more videos like this one.